begin. Let's see. Right, so today we are doing a Legend of Mana speedrun. This is an action RPG with a bit of a mix of a beat 'em up and fighting game combat. Originally released for the PlayStation 1, but we're going to be playing the remastered version that came out recently. I'm going to play it in Korean for this route, just because this is the route we typically run in. It can be done in any language, of course. But I'm just going to stick to what I'm used to doing on the Jumi route. This speedrun has several categories with quite diverse routing due to the depth of what we call a land make system, where we will be placing artifacts in order to build our world as we progress through the game. In order to complete the game for the any percent categories, we need to complete one of the 3 main story arcs. Today we're going to be doing the Jumi story, and we also need to have placed 18 artifacts. So we're going to have to do a few extra events along the way to meet that requirement. So at the beginning of this game, we can select almost anywhere on the entire world map to designate as our map, and that's where we will begin building. Let's see, I'm going to be starting right here. So yeah, a couple of things about the land-based system. As I said, I'm going to be getting artifacts as we go through the run. These must be placed next to a previous placed land. If a land has an introductory event in it, that must be completed or skipped through other means before we can place another artifact next to it. With the exception of towns. Any town or city we can place next to right away without having completed anything else, which is pretty useful. And the order that we place lands is very important. Every land has their own level, which is calculated based on the distance they are away from our home, which is our very first artifact, and the number of artifacts that have already been placed. The land levels, as well as mana levels, will directly impact the levels of enemies, as well as the levels of equipment sold in shops. The enemies' weaknesses and strengths relate to each of the mana levels, which we'll go over as well, which will raise or lower their levels respectively. We do have several different mana levels. They can have 0 to 3 in each of them, and they are also the names of the days of the week. So mana levels are pretty cool. There's the spirits, and in this route particularly, the days of the week do matter, and we'll get into that later. There are some events that trigger on specific days of the week, which is pretty neat. When placing an artifact next to a land that's already down, that new land will gain additional points of mana from any based on the artifacts around it that have 2 or more mana. So this will cause us to do like a chain reaction to bleed mana levels across to strengthen or weaken enemies, and more importantly bosses, as optimally as possible. And that's where this new route and map placement really came from, was trying to min-max our levels a bit. So this is a pretty new route. We've rerouted almost every category recently, which is very exciting. And we also found a new trick, which I'll show off as soon as we get started, where we can skip the animation that happens when we place an artifact. Yeah, and also placing the artifact influences the lands around it, providing its mana levels to them as well. So there's just a lot of factors that go into building out our world in these runs, which is really unique about this game, and definitely unique when it comes to the speedruns. It's pretty endless opportunities for routing and optimizing. Let's see. In a couple of the other categories, all events in Platinum, there are also events we do that require certain mana levels on them. Also, there are some pets you can get that are called demi-humans, which require some certain mana levels on a land, which is utilized in the Dragon Percent speedrun as well to get a certain pet, a tomato man. Alright, and we're going to start the run in just a moment. Again, this is going to be the Jumi percent. There's Dragon percent, Fairy percent, Jumi percent. There's a category where we do all 3 of those, one where we do every event in the game, and then there's the Platinum percent. Those are our main 6 categories. Today we're doing Jumi, which is a story that revolves around the Jumi race. Humanoid people. They look like humans. They have gems in their chest. It's also the major plot point around the Legend of Mana Teardrop Crystal anime that was recently released. So that's pretty cool. A lot of people are pretty familiar with the Jumis now. If their cores are damaged, they become greatly weakened. If their cores are removed, they can die. Cracking it can also split their personalities and interesting things like that. So now that we have our selection of the map highlighted, time's going to begin once we hit accept here. I did start in Korean. Again, we can start in English or any other language, whatever we need to do. And we are starting with the hammer weapon because it scales the best as we level up. So I'm going to go ahead and start the run. 3, 2, 1, go. So we can skip the opening cutscene. It's the only cutscene we can skip after we place our house. This is our first artifact. And I'm going to show you the first trick here, which normally an animation plays when you place an artifact, and it takes anywhere from 8 to 15 seconds depending on the artifact. But we recently discovered you can just hold L1 while you place it, and you don't have to watch that. And that shaved off 4 to 6 minutes depending on what category we're running. So we're going to enter our house. We got to watch these cutscenes about the mana goddess. She's introducing herself. She is love. She is life. She's quite powerful. She basically created all that exists. And we will see more of her at the end of every speed run, as the mana tree that we're showing here is the final dungeon that we'll get to. When it comes to speed tech that we're going to be doing throughout the game, it's going to be a lot of movement based, and you'll see it immediately. We're going to be wiggling back and forth while we run, moving on a diagonal and reducing the animation frames that your legs move is the fastest way to get around in and out of combat. So I'm just going to make sure I do this part right, because I need to menu some techniques and abilities, and we'll get into that in a little bit as well. Spin, defend, blammo. We're going to talk to the Sproutling. He's going to give us our first artifact other than home, which is the color blocks for the town of Damina. We're going to place those above our house. I'm going to get a little tutorial on how to place artifacts. There we go. So you saw me wiggling through the house. That's the fastest way to move. Every run begins with the hero waking up in bed like that, and every run begins with going to Damina just like this. And we set our beginning abilities, so I set mine to spin and defend, and that is so we can learn other techniques. There are other abilities and techniques, but mostly abilities. We don't need to learn other techniques. Defend's going to let us learn an ability, or a technique called ability, not technique, called counterattack. And then counterattack is going to let us learn counter strike. And that's really all we need to learn for speedrunning. There are many more that are relevant and only used in the platinum percent, other than jump. But we start with jump, and in most cases, most runs we use jump and spin to start, but in this particular run we need to get counter strike for a boss that we're going to fight pretty early. So we just need to kind of start with it out the gate, which does make the first boss we face unfortunately a little bit more difficult. So we did start our first Jumi event by speaking to Elazul in the bar and telling him we will help him find Pearl, his lost Jumi friend. But then we immediately ditched him for Niccolo, who needs us to help him fend off some bandits. Pearl didn't like, or Elazul didn't like that. He's going to try and get us to change our mind. But we're going to stick with Niccolo. But first, Niccolo wants us to come with him to visit Tipo, where he's going to try and sell off his wheel that he found for 50,000 lucre. Tipo's going to decline, because that's outrageous. Who needs 50,000 lucre? Or who needs a wheel that bad? Lucre is our money in this game, obviously. And this wheel is an artifact, and Elazul also gave us, or got us an artifact from Rachel while we were talking. So yeah, T-Bow's not going to buy that. He's just going to give it to us for free. No big deal. We're going to go ahead and leave now, and we're going to place the wheel to the right of Domina to access the Luan Highway for our first event, Nicolo's Business Unusual, Part 1. There are 5 Nicolo events. We're going to be doing 2 of them in this speedrun. Starting here, and you're going to see some of our combat techs that we're going to use first, and most importantly, you're going to start seeing us use the spin attack. The spin attack is great because it can hit multiple enemies at once, and you don't need to line up and line up for their hitbox. And my controller settings are weird. Oh no, I did my menu wrong. That's what happened. Because somebody updated these notes. That wasn't me. Alright, so anyway, you saw me dizzy myself. So the way this works is I need to be far enough away from the enemies to not dizzy them. The spin attack will dizzy an enemy. If you dizzy 5 enemies in a combat, it can be the same enemy 5 times. It can be 3 enemies and then 2 enemies, any combination. But once you dizzy 5, you yourself will also be dizzy, and that's bad. So I had my buttons on the wrong keys because I messed up my menus because of the way this guide's written. And we dizzied ourselves in the first combat. Hopefully we don't see the dizzy on ourselves ever again. This is a special technique. We're using blammo to hit all the enemies because this chopping hood boy with the bow is pretty tanky. So we want to take him down as fast as we can, and the special techniques do a lot of damage. That's the only special technique we're going to learn and use. There are a couple other reasons we'll use them. Mostly in boss fights we'll use them to make sure we don't get hit by the boss's special techniques. Because while you're doing a special technique, you have invincibility frames, so we can time it to avoid getting hit by the boss. There are tons of special techniques you can learn. I think it's like 190 or something like that, which you learn in Platinum %. But we're just going to stick with blammo, and that'll be good. And we're going to use it again here, just to one-shot all those enemies. It makes that fight much quicker. And then we're off to our first boss, the Mantis Ants, which, if you've played other Mana games, you might be familiar. They're asking us for all our money. We're saying no. We're going to give them candy. And on this boss fight, we're going to use uppercuts, power cancels, uppercut cancels, spins. We're going to use everything. So the power cancel is a power attack, and then we use a button that we don't have anything assigned to for the special technique slots. And that'll make like a honk noise that you might hear. I'm not using them right now. There's a couple. And I'm going to do spins to keep him dizzy, which unfortunately he got an ST off. But we'll just counter it with blammo like we talked about earlier and do a couple power attacks and end the boss. Yeah, I tried to mix in spins. I didn't do enough spins because that can stun the boss and make it so we can avoid STs. Unfortunately, like I said, we were using defend early, so this boss fight's harder. It's easier if we have jump, because then we can do jump cancels, which is a power attack followed by a jump. There was a chance to get a synchro from Nicolo. Every ally has a synchro where if you kill an enemy while near them, special effects will happen. In Nicolo's case, it would be dropping extra money, and then that would give us a poverty skip, which is a few less text box here. Not a big deal. And we also try to manipulate our allies' positioning so that they get closer to their location for these cutscenes, which I didn't do a very good job at. But anyway, not a bad start for having a bad menu, for assigning my skills to the wrong place. So that gave us the Jade Egg and I believe the Ancient Tablet. We're going to place the, or not the Jade Egg, but the Flame. We're going to place the Jade Egg up here. We're going to place the Flame right here. And we're going to head into Gato Grottos and do a Jumi event. This is our first town. We're going to do a quick menu. I'm going to put counterattack on, like I said. I got to learn that. And we're going to do Flame of Hope. So Flame of Hope is going to begin with us following this Sproutling on the ground who is in pain. We're going to try and help him recover. We're going to be doing a lot of running back and forth. It's not the most exciting event to watch. It's a lot of dialogue. Yeah, so essentially, we're going to figure out that the source of his pain is a popo bug that's crawled in between his leaves. And Rubens wants to try and help him by removing it, and there's this nun and Rubens. But unfortunately, he's just a coward and he runs away a lot. We're going to figure out later that someone else is behind this while they're trying to steal the Flame of Hope, which none of us really know what that is at this moment. So this was a perfect time to... There's Rubens. He's the Jumi with the red hair. Oh, we don't know he's a Jumi yet. This would be a perfect time to do things like donations if you're in a marathon, or just free ball and talk with the chat, but we're just going to kind of take a break, hydrate, enter the temple after that cutscene lets us, talk to the Sproutling who's just running around spewing nonsense about how much pain he's in. So yeah, we're gonna learn that the Flame of Hope is actually the Jumi, Rubens. He's got a ruby in his chest, hence his name Rubens. And it's not an actual flame, which is a similar thing you'll notice in the anime. And Sandra, the jewel thief, is going to show her ugly face at some point to, oops. It's supposed to go behind that table, it's a little bit faster, but whatever. Not planning on setting a new best time, just trying to get a nice run with commentary to explain speedrunning Legend of Mana and some of the things behind it while going over the Jumi storyline a little bit. I'm not an expert at the details of the story, but I'll share what I can. Maybe I should have done this in English, but here we are. There's only one category where English is the fastest that we know of so far. We haven't tested every language, which we really need to do. That's the fairy one. And the reason I'm focusing on this one is because I want a reason to grind it more and practice it, because it's my least played, probably. I am a top 2 time right now, but there's some other people who haven't run with the animation skip who are pretty top runners. And it's also a consistent run. I'm going to do some RNG strats as far as getting extra weapons is concerned, but it's entirely optional and is only faster if you get it on the first or maybe on the second attempt. But again, that's something else we'll talk about when we get to it. Where the dragon run is the fastest of the 3 any percents, this is the slowest of the 3 any percents. Mostly because it's got a ton of dialogue. But it has the most consistent bosses, because you fight the same type of boss like 7 times instead of fighting a bunch of different bosses. Where Fairy percent is super consistent, no RNG, there are very tricky boss fights in it. Dragon percent has tricky boss fights and the biggest RNG for any percent. So that nun is Sandra in disguise. She stole Rubens' core. That should, in most Jumi's cases, kill them immediately. Rubens has some fight in him, so he'll stick around and talk to us for a little bit as he dies. And then Detective Boyd is going to show up, or Inspector Boyd, I suppose, not Detective. And he's an interesting character. He's great. He's basically chasing down Sandra and trying to catch her. So he's gonna rant, he's gonna blame us, think we're Sandra, we're gonna be like, no, it was the nun, and he's gonna be like, ah, blast. And then he's gonna ask us to help track down the Jumi killer, the thief, before she escapes Gato Gratos. And it's just gonna teleport us back over to this side one last time. So yeah, like I said, we did a lot of back and forth. This is a pretty long event. Not the longest in this run, but it's pretty long. I do want to do a different dialogue option than the default just to save us a text box. So we're going to do that. That was pretty slow. Alright, so he says he'll look around here. He wants us to go check the caves. So we're going to head down to the caves. We are going to skip an encounter by hugging the wall and avoid its trigger zone once we get into the caves. And the caves has the leaves of the Sproutling trying to show you the way through, but it's way faster if you just skip it and go this way. Hug this wall, skip the moldy goo fight, head down the stairs, and then we'll take on the next fight here. And we're just going to try and move. Okay, these slot. Nobody wants to move closer to me. They're making this very difficult to spin them. There we go. So do a bunch of spins. So candy disappears the fastest. We don't really need to pick it up in most cases. Then items disappear the fastest. They're second fastest before XP and Lucre. We're going to take this exit, hit the waterfall. Not supposed to re-enter there. I don't know what happened. Go to the waterfall, run past, enter another cave to the Cancun's bird nest, and get another short scene before Sandra ultimately escapes us. Unfortunately. Inspector Boyd's gonna be very upset about this. There's the nun. She's gonna reveal her true self, Sandra. And then she's gonna peace out with a grappling hook like a badass. I don't know where she went because there's just a bird's nest up there and nothing else, but she's out of here. And this is gonna wrap up the Flame of Hope. Even though we didn't catch Sandra, Inspector Boyd's still gonna reward us, so that's good. What a good guy. Okay, and for our next event, we will return to Gato Grados. This is the only other time we come here in this speed run. In Fairy Percent, we're here like 6 times. It gets kind of old, but yeah, we're gonna come back here. We're gonna go meet a familiar face, our buddy from earlier, Niccolo. But first, we gotta buy us a new hammer. I have to sell first, right? We need money. Can't buy a hammer without money. Alright, Niccolo. Niccolo's Business Unusual Part 2. So in this event, he wants us to accompany him while he collects the delicacy that is green ball bugs. Yes, green ball bugs. They're like mossy bugs. People love them. So now we can skip straight to the waterfall without going in the caves, which is great because that's where Niccolo needs to be. So we're going to head here. We do have to go to the next screen in order to advance this and then return. And then we just got to wait until a fairy appears. But if we're standing on this log, it doesn't work. Thank you for the good luck, Monocle. We're going to wait for Niccolo to appear about 5 times next to us. I wasn't paying attention, so I think it's 2 more. Now there's the fairy. Niccolo doesn't believe that we talked to a fairy. The fairy doesn't know why we're here with Niccolo. It's a very simple event that's going to get us an artifact that lets us get closer to the 18 artifact goal required to beat the game. And that's it. Alright, now we have the broken doll. We're going to place the ancient tablet first. And then we will place the broken doll up here and head to the junkyard. Once we enter the junkyard, the event for the Infernal Doll will begin. And we're going to meet the Infernal Doll. He's going to say some very unkind words to us and then run off. This is definitely an area where people tend to get lost, because if you don't talk to the Jack-in-the-Box and get hints as to the correct path, you can go ways that make it so the exit's not available to you. And that's not good. Alright, after the first fight in here, I have to do a menu and put counterattack on both slots so I can learn Counter Strike. As we discussed earlier, we need to use certain abilities equipped for a certain amount of fights to unlock others. You can equip the same one into both slots, which is what we're going to use here, and it'll count twice, and I dizzied myself, which we definitely want to avoid, and failed to. I tried to step away, but I did poorly. So I'm going to just run out here and pull up the menu as the screen loads. And then forget what I was doing. Alright, moving on. Alright, we know our way through here, so it's easy to get to the boss. A fun little note, the little cactus in your home that you speak to after every event, he'll write in his diary about the junkyard that all these junkyards are leftovers of artifacts used in wars. So this boss is just 4 normal enemies, nobody special, some cursed dolls, a polterbox, and a chest knight. And we're going to bring back the use of blammo to dismantle them all as quickly as possible. And by as quickly as possible, I mean in one hit. And that's why we bought that hammer. Alright, we're going to get scenes with Louis. He lives here. This is his junkyard. And he's going to give us some more rewards, and we're going to place the Moon's Mirror next, which we're going to momentarily visit, but we'll be back here a couple times. Oops, I got to do that. Moon's Mirror. So we're going to go here, because this lets us skip a few encounters in the next event. If we enter here now, we're going to get a little scene, and then we will see Pearl. Pearl is El Azul's friend, who we met at the very beginning of the game. He's searching for Pearl. We found Pearl. This doesn't resolve that event, though. What this does is it makes the game think that we've already advanced the event in the Mecha Caverns, where Pearl actually is. So it gives us a way to fast travel to further in the dungeon by methods of boinks. I am going to do the optional fight here once I'm in the Mecha Caverns. But I also need to place more artifacts. So we're going to place the Tome of Magic, which is the Town of Geo, which we will definitely be in later, and the Torch of Coral, which is the beach. So I'm going to do an optional fight. I'm going to farm for the axe weapon because I want to. It's definitely optional. You don't have to do this. You can get a one-handed axe, you can get a two-handed axe. Both are faster if you get them in the first fight. I do not have spin on, so we're going to be using our power cancels. And we're just hoping to see an item bag. There we go, we got a weapon. So we're going to put spin on, counter strike on, and our one-handed axe. That's fine. And now we can skip 2 encounters in the first room that we would have done because we used that boink to teleport. And come in here with our new axe. And we'll spin these guys. And head over to the boss doing. So this is the boss we learned Counter-Strike for. For one of many bosses we learned Counter-Strike for. Unfortunately we didn't get the two-handed axe because that would do much more damage with Counter-Strike. But it did enough for us to make quick work of him and not have him do any special techniques, which is ultimately the goal. We mixed in some power attacks in between to make sure he didn't get an opening for that. And then Pearl will reveal herself. El Azul is going to show up. We're going to pretend like we don't know who El Azul is. And we're also going to make sure they know we have no idea what a core is. Because El Azul is going to think we're looking for the core now. Even though he asked us to help find her in the first place. He didn't like that we abandoned him though. He's also going to criticize her greatly for getting lost and not thinking and wandering. Yeah. He's very upset that she got lost in the first place. Next up, the next event is going to be Tea Time of Danger. Okay. This is going to be another non-Jumi event. We're going to do a couple... yeah. We're going to do a non-Jumi event real fast to get us some more artifacts to reach that 18 artifact goal. We're going to place the Stone Eye first. And then head to the Mindas Ruins. This land is a puzzle. It's full of gates that are controlled by positioning flower keys, which are people. I mean, they're a type of a humanoid creature. We position them in certain ways to open the gates. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about in just a little bit as we fight our way through the Mindas Ruins. It's definitely an easy place to get lost if you aren't sure how this works. I really thought that was going to kill the Lava Bud. If you kill during the 5th Dizzy, it'll kill them and you won't get dizzy and the fight will end. He barely survived. I thought I had enough damage to kill it. Get some honks, power attack. There's Tipo, who is here for some reason. Tea Time of Danger. Tipo, he's in danger. Alright, here's our first flower keys. We talked to the one in the middle, they drop from the sky, we move that one over to the right. And then we'll go back to this room that we just came through, but the different gates are going to be closed. So we moved them to the right, so now the top gate's closed. He's in my way, which is the real fun part about this event. And now we can progress this way. We're going to pass through another set of gates, another flowerling's going to get in our way. The RNG of NPCs is beautiful. I'm going to move this one over to open the bottom gate. You can wiggle and skip through them, but only really if they're walking as well. If they stop, they can kind of block you. This guy is our Psychokinesis, which is going to make it so that we can open the dungeon in the ruins here. So we have to do this again. Move the same one back. We're just going back the way we came. And these flowerlings keep getting in my way. So now we're going to talk to this one over here. And since we did the Psychokinesis, she's going to shout, "I feel it! I can feel it!" We're going to run down here, do 3 more fights. Kill a Chest Knight. Kill a Succubus. I'm just going to power cancel our way through everything. Oh my god, my eye. It's burning. I don't know why. And then we're going to kill an 8 mummy. The 8 mummy can drop a pretty good weapon, but since we use the axe, we don't care about it. It's only good if we stuck with the hammer. So we're going to position on the left side before we talk to Tipo here, because the boss is going to push us this way anyway, but the boss will begin wherever we're standing. So this bat's going to come down. He's going to talk about how gross it was to suck Tipo's blood because it's water. Also how gross it is to suck the blood of a human. Count Dovula wants none of this. They seek doves, hence the name Count Dovula. But they'll take care of us first and kill us. And we're like, great, good luck. We're probably just going to power cancel this boss to death. If we had the 2-handed axe, I would also look for counter strikes, since its power cancels a little bit slower. But with the 1-handed axe, we should be able to lock him down without him doing anything. He did try to cast a spell there for a second. Anytime he casts a spell, it does give us a bit of a lag spike, which is unfortunate, but he only did it twice, and he can kind of do it like 8 or 9 times if you're really unlucky. Alright, now Tebow's going to cry and thank us a lot and reward us with some artifacts to continue our journey. Which is perfect, because we need those. Okay, we're going to place the medallion below us. I'm going to place the bottled spirit right here. Place Polta Harbor here. Sorry, I had to think. Alright, we gotta go to Popolta Harbor. We're gonna do a Jumi event. This one is called Drowned Dreams. This is one let's see. I don't have much on this one. So we're gonna start by entering the hotel. We're gonna talk to one of the merchants, and a ghost is gonna show up, and he's gonna just freak out. Oh, a ghost! So he's gonna ask us what we think about it. We can choose between offering to help ourselves or telling him, hey, go talk to Inspector Boyd. He'll figure it out. So to progress this event, we need to talk to the suspects who could be behind it, which hasn't been explained to us, really. But we know exactly which one actually matters, so we're going to go talk to our guy, Toma, the knight up here. And then we're going to head back to the hotel. On our way to the hotel, we're going to meet a character called Basketfish. He's something. He's something else. He's a fish in a basket that walks around. He wants nothing to do with us. He's rich, and he's just above us. He's above the weak. He's above the poor. He's going to pay to rent out the entire hotel so he can watch his favorite dancer, Ravanche, all by himself, even though she can't stand the perv. It is what it is. We're going to talk to Inspector Boyd. We're going to tell him that we think it was Basketfish. We're going to tell him that 3 times. They kind of want you to tell them every option. Basketfish, the soldier, and the mermaid. But you don't have to. You can just pick one. And then we're going to say, maybe it's you. And he's going to be like, maybe. And then we're going to be like, ooh, who has blue eyes, you say. And the only person whose eyes we can't see are the soldiers. So we're going to tell him the soldier, Tom. We're going to go down here where there's a little bar. And the soldier, just for a quick scene while he contemplates everything. I don't actually know what's going on here. I can't remember. But there's penguins. And he's like, ooh, I gotta go. And we're gonna follow it. Leave the hotel. We get another scene with Toma and Inspector Boyd. Inspector Boyd's obviously accusing him. What? Show us your eyes. You're the one. We're here about a jewel being stolen, obviously. This would be Sappho's jewel, I believe, the sapphire. Which the anime goes into a lot more detail on this event, honestly, which is really cool. That's probably my favorite episode of the anime. Is the Drowned Dreams one. Big fan of that one, actually. Okay. So we go in here, and we realize Basketfish has the jewel the whole time. And then we get some background on what happened to the other soldiers that Tama was a part of. And we figure out that sirens sang a song and subsequently crashed their ship. As sirens do. They're very risky out on sea. I know that siren. Was that L? So we can hear the siren song and we'll see the ship go down. So this is the Sappho Stone giving us a flashback to some events. And then that's going to wrap us up here and advance our story. Oh, the ghost just walked away with the stone. Inspector Boyd walks in. Turns out the other Inspector Boyd was Sandra in disguise, and then she walked out in the shape of a ghost. And Boyd comes back in, none the wiser. But the hotel people are grateful for what we did, and they're going to give us a reward. Alright, one more event that is not related to the Jumi storyline right now, but this event is done in every category of Legend of Mana. This is Fairy's Light. Yes, Fairy's Light, Spirit's Light, whatever you want to call it. This is a fan favorite event. It is an event related to Gilbert and the Sirens, which we just got to see a little bit of Siren action. Monique the Siren works at her lamp shop, the Limelight. She's thinking about closing up shop and moving out of town because her lamps aren't selling well enough. Enter Gilbert, the heroic bard centaur who is in love with Monique, of course, and he would be so heartbroken if she moved out of town. So much so that he'll help her sell lamps. And by helping her, we mean he's going to buy 3 of them and make us sell the rest. And sure, we'll sell them for you. Now, of course, the only people we can sell them to are the Dud Bears, who we currently don't understand, because they speak their own language. So, first things first, we gotta talk to the bartender who's gonna teach us all about dubba, boo boo goo goo, da ba da 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 ba ba ba, do ba ba da da gak, bub da 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 da. That's all you really need to know. And we're gonna sell lamps to them. The only problem with Gilbert's mission is we're also going to spend the money. Not all of it. We're going to spend a little bit of it. Enough of it that it's really not going to help Monique's cause. Like, sure, she got rid of lamps, but she's not getting all the money back. We're going to upgrade our hammer. This is going to be our final hammer. We're going to drop the axe, go back to hammer. We're going to put Blammo back on. Oops. Ah, I got stuck. We're gonna go sell the last lamp to this Dud Bear over here. Okay. We're gonna go back. We're gonna give Gilbert, some of the money. Not all of it, because we spent it. He's gonna run in and he's like, you know what, you spent some? That's fine. She doesn't need all the money, right? Right? I guess it's fine, because Gilbert says it's fine. Not because Monique says it's fine. She's in trouble. Her shop's going down. Gilbert's like, it's okay, dude. We got rid of the lamps and we got her some money. It's fine. It's not fine, Gilbert. That's not fine. Just because you're in love, it's not fine. Anyway, the rest of this event, Monique's going to decide to stay here in Lumina, despite the fact that every citizen here has lamps. It's literally called Lumina. It's a town of light. But then she's going to talk about how people will travel far distances to purchase lamps from her, which begs the question how her shop was in trouble in the first place if her lamps are so well known and so good. She was literally just struggling and thinking about packing up and moving. But now she's super confident for some reason that people are going to come here. Regardless, I have a new hammer, and Monique's going to shoot Gilbert down despite his love for her, and he's going to leave and be very depressed. She thinks he's a nice guy and all, which he has good intentions. He's kind of a freak. But at the end of the day, he wants a much bigger lamp than the little ones that Monique has. Oh, Gilbert. Hasn't anyone ever told you it's the size of the lamp that matters? Or it's not the size of the lamp that matters. I'm sorry. Anyway, we're going to wrap up the event with the Dud Bears coming in, showing their gratitude for the lamps. They love them. And we're going to get some more artifacts to reach our end goal. And we're getting the Trembling Spoon and the Sand Rose for the Underworld and the Duma Desert. All right, next up, the Looking Glass Tower. We're going to return to the Tower of Lyris, where we just stepped in once for just to do that half Lost Princess skip to get the Boinks to spawn in the Mech of Caverns. But this time we're going to stick around and do the entire event because we are officially on track to do the Jumi events. We've done a couple, but now we're gung-ho. We're going to decide not to accompany Pearl up the tower because she's slow. She doesn't help us in fights, and she does really slow animations at the end of every fight, and we don't want any of that. But anyway, our objective is going to be to get to the top of the tower. This is another map that will cause people to get lost quite often. But we have a simple rule to the tower where it's basically advance advance while staying inside, pretty much. Just keep going across. Unless there is a door to an elevator. Or obviously if you run into a dead end that exits you out to a stairwell on the outside of the tower. And if you do take an elevator, leave that elevator going to the left. And that's it. That'll get you to the top, and that'll also get you back to the bottom. So since there's a door there, but we can stay inside, we're going to go up and just follow the path. And at the end of this path, there won't be anywhere to go except for the door. So we're going to take it. And that's about it. There's just going to be a little bit of a climb here. So I'm going to just take a break and just focus on the fights. Mad Mallards are a pain. Come on, buddy. I'm going to focus on making sure I hold the right direction in every loading screen, because you can start moving a little bit before you can see the screen. So if you know which way you need to hold ahead of time, you can obviously optimize your time. So that was our first elevator, which means we exit to the left. And that's going to bring us up, and we need to go down a floor before we can go back up. So that's why I held left. Wiggle, wiggle, no fights here. We're going to really focus on getting our wiggles in. Here, and then we go up the stairs on the outside, so we go to the right. We're gonna have a double Mad Mallard fight after our triple Bloodsucker fight. I might not have done a run in a minute, but I sure remember. Alright, Mad Mallards. I want to knock these two back and try to spin everybody, but didn't hit Basilisk, but it's fine. He died. And his XP dropped before I collected the Mad Mallard, so it's fine. I must have missed something behind the foreground. Yep, there was another crystal. Continue up the stairs again, and then we're going to head to the left for 2 more fights. Dane Slace and a Chest Knight. Okay, getting dizzied. And then we have some Dark Stalkers. Oops, I'm not hitting that one. So I'm not hitting both enemies. Spins are not the best. I'm going to continue down because we can, so we don't need to take that. We're going to take this last elevator. Oop, ran past it. Exit the elevator room to the left, up the stairs. And now we're going to be at the top. We're going to run into Elazul again, and just like Pearl, we don't want them to come with us. Because that would create a much longer cutscene once we enter this room here. So we should say one more thing, and we're going to be like, nah, we're good. Alright. If we went in this room saying yes, we would be in here for quite a while. So we're going to see is Pearl and another Pearl. Facing off, and we'll be quickly interrupted by the Iron Centaur. This is another boss we can utilize counter strikes on, but I'm gonna note that we can't start with a counter strike because the first hit that we would receive, we are usually invulnerable at the beginning of the fight. So we're gonna do a hit. Okay, he's not gonna swing on us. Normally he swings on us right away. There we go. There's a counter strike. Should have just kept going. Okay, that was really bad. He usually counter strike or attacks right away after you hit him like once. So I was just kind of counting on it instead of just playing. You really just need to play and adapt to these things the best you can. There's an attack, there's a counter strike, he's dead. So I failed to play that out. Regardless, this is the first boss fight we're going to encounter that does not end the event. So usually at the end of an event there's a boss fight, which this event is the end of a boss fight, but there's a second boss. Elazul's going to come in, talk to Pearl, offer to take Pearl out of here with him, and Pearl's going to want to stay, and Elazul's going to have us escort her out. So we can't avoid having Pearl with us anymore, so we will get those slow fights. However, there is a fast way down the tower, so we will not have to redo every fight that we just did. We will follow the exact same rules, though. When we do a fast travel through the tower, we'll run to the left, and otherwise we'll keep going across the floor unless we hit an exit to the outside stairs that we have to take, a dead-end exit. If I hold left here, I will not be able to exit the room, so I do need to pause a little bit. Otherwise the loading zone won't load for some reason. You can get there too fast. So our first fast travel here is going to just drop us off this ledge about 6 floors. And we're fine, it's just a 6-story drop. Then we're going to go up 1 floor to the elevator to take us back down. Yes, it's an enormous elevator controlled by a crystal. How fun. And that's the 3rd floor. We go down to the 2nd floor where we do 2 fights. We'll do a lunge attack to push the Mad Mallard away. And soften him up before spins. And now we're going to fight 3 bloodsuckers. Take quick look at them. Head down to the 1st floor where we will do the 2 fights again. The 2 Daneslace and the 3 bloodsuckers once again. There's a lot of fights with 3 bloodsuckers in this place. Gotta drop loot here, huh? Oops, I forgot to attack during that spin. So if you don't attack during a spin, it just does the busy part, which is useful in very rare circumstances. I honestly only use it in Platinum percent for a couple fights. Anyway, so we meet the exit, and the Jewel Hunter Sandra is back, and she brings with us the first of many Jewel Beast boss. These are her little pets. They can also be Counter-Strike, so Counter-Strike is massive in this category, but you really gotta wait for the opportunity, because they can also be very dangerous foes when they run at you like that. Alright, whew. That was risky. When they charge at you, you saw if you looked at my percentage of my health bar, I went down to like 30-something%. That's scary. Alright, so that's good. We're gonna see 6 more bosses that look just like that, 6 more Jeweled Beasts. The strategies are pretty much the same for them all, but they all are slightly different. So they have slightly different attacks they can use, but they're handled just about the same way, and they're all pretty dangerous. I can definitely die to them. Alright, we're going to continue with Jumi events, but first we're going to do a quick little detour into the Duma Desert to lock some characters there. And we're going to begin the event, and we're just going to leave, which would also fail the event. And it allows us to continue the Jumi story just as well. We do not have to complete it. And then we're also going to have to enter and leave our house, because that is a requirement to advance a lot of the Jumi arc as well. So all we got to do here is talk to Cathindra once, and then we can leave. Finja and her students. She's one of the teachers over at Geo. She's also here with the principal of Geo, so we're going to make sure he doesn't go back to Geo. Alright, I'm going to leave. Enter and exit our house. Because, like I said, that is something that advances the Jumi story. For some reason, it's routed, like, the triggers for it are basically based around to just do throughout playing the game casually. In which case, they assume you're going to enter your house a lot to talk to Little Cactus and put diaries in and just get a feel for the whole story. Now we're going to go to Damina, where the event, where we can begin the event. So in Damina, we're going to return to the pub, where El Azul is once again hanging out. And he needs help finding someone else, but I said the wrong thing. Oops. That's okay. We agree to accompany him to Geo to look for another friend of his. And then Pearl's going to come in, and we're going to be like, hey, Pearl, it's dangerous for you to stay here. So go stay at my house. So she's just going to go to our house and hang out. Alone. With Little Cactus, I guess. That's it, we're going to leave Geo. Now, I know I told you at the very beginning of this that the days of the week are important for this run, and this is exactly why. If I've done my movement right, which I should have, when I enter Geo, we will be on the Dryad day. In order to do this event, we need to enter on Dryad or Aura, and we're on Dryad, which is perfect. Because that is the day, those are two of the days where these characters will be in class. So we're going to enter the map, we're going to get a scene with Esmeralda and Nunuzak. She's the one Elza was looking for. And then we're going to head to the school to talk to Esmeralda. And then we're going to go to sleep. We're going to sleep to advance the days here instead of leaving and advancing on the world map. There's an inn we can stay in. Oop, I don't normally go that way, but it's fine. So I'm going to run up to the classroom. Hi, Brownie. She's the only one in here because we didn't do the event where all the kids return to school. So the kids are kind of just scattered throughout town. And she's going to ask us to meet her in the library, but not today. So we're going to just leave, go to the inn, and sleep. And we're going to have to do this a few times to advance this event. And this event is the one where the day cycles matter most of all. See her in the library with Nunuzak. And we're just going to mash until it warps us out of the library. So essentially, Esmeralda is trying to find the 3 cores of her sisters. These cores were lost but are known to be in Geo, and they were taken by Deathbringer's army. And there's probably a lot more to this than I know, but it is what it is. So this starts the event, Lucky Clover, finally. And at the end of all this, we're going to offer to become Esmeralda's guardian, which El Azul is Pearl's guardian. They're just sworn to protect the other Jumi. We're going to go ahead and sleep again, because now we need to talk to her in the classroom, of course. So we have to do 2 options here. We have to agree to leave in the morning so they can clean the room. I don't know why they make us do that. And we have to say we'll sleep there. And both of the second option, which is really annoying, but you know, this game really likes to make accept the second option. They're like, you want to decline first. So this should be fun. 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so now we need to sleep twice to get to the correct day, not once. And then once we agree to become her guardian, which will happen the next time we're in the library with her, we're gonna help her find the jewels. Listen. Okay. Let's go into the library. This scene, and again, confirm it's going to be our second option to agree to become her guardian. So we really got to pay attention to what text box we're on. Luckily, we know Korean. Yes, I would love to be her guardian. All right, so the first jewel, or core, Jumi core, whatever, is going to be in the principal's office. Principal's office is right over here. We go in, she's gonna be like, I feel it, there's a core in here, there it is, does this make me a thief? I'm gonna say yeah, and we're gonna laugh about it and leave. And then, what's the next logical place to look? How about the jewelry store? Ah. Unfortunately, though, we meet Alex here, and they don't have one of the Jumi cores. But they are very intrigued to learn that there are Jumi in this town. Oh, Alex. There's something about you. Jumi? Here? Alright, so let's go to the cafe where we will talk to Tipo behind here and ask him if he has a core, because she can feel that there's a core nearby. And he's like, nope, no idea what you're talking about. And we're like, alright, can we stay here? And he's like, sure. Just leave in the morning. Okay. So we're going to enter the palace, where we'll talk to Christy. Yeah, see with Christy. She wants nothing to do with the Jumi, so once she realizes that the core she has belongs to a Jumi, she's like, it's in the basement. Go get it. And we're like, alright, thanks. And in the basement, we will meet Diana, the Diamond Jumi, who will give us that core. She's just sitting here on a pedestal for some reason. Some really great music throughout this entire game. I know we haven't talked about it, but if you just take time to listen to the music, it is fantastic. Alright, that's our second core. One left. So we're gonna head out here and we're gonna talk. Where could it be? Oops, I got a screen. One more screen. Where could it be? I bet it's in the cafe. So we're going to return to the cafe / the inn. Where we're going to get a scene with Tipo, accuse him of lying, and let him know what's going on, and how at risk the Jumi race is, and tell him a whole sob story about this. He's going from irate and angry, to very sympathetic and in tears in just a moment. So Tipo was denying it, but now he feels bad about that. He's very sympathetic now. Alright, so now that she has the cores, we're going to tell her to go back to class. And Sandra's lurking from above, obviously. She's going to drop a note down for us to read, threatening us. She's coming for our cores. I'm going to say, hey, go to school. Nunuzak's going to protect you at school. Don't worry about it. I'm going to follow her just to make sure she's safe. Inspector Boyd. I just missed her. Esmeralda's gone. I just sent her here. Alright. Where could she be? I'm gonna go back to Christie's palace. She went off looking for Sandra. On her own, I'm your guardian. Diana's gonna teleport her. We're gonna tell Diana that we will do anything we can to save her or protect her. And we're gonna fight a boss. Another one of Sandra's jeweled beasts already. Focus on this boss. Oh, I messed up. There we go. Got a good counter strike up there. And he's dead. Alright. Not the best boss, but boss nonetheless. Do some spins for y'all. Alright. Unfortunately, Sandra's gonna get away with another Jumi core. Esmeralda's Emerald core. We failed as a guardian, straight up. But Diana's still gonna reward us for trying. And that's gonna wrap up the Lucky Clover. We're back at home with Pearl. Remember, she's at home. Which, fortunately for routing, this puts us right at home. And guess what we need to do to advance the story for Jumi? Go home. This time we don't have to leave right away. We have to go talk to Elazul, who's hanging out outside our house. We're going to tell Elazul Pearl hasn't been here. And yes, we'll help you find her. Once again, we have to find Pearl. But I need to enter the house to start another event, so we're going to do that. And we're going to ditch Pearl, Elazul. This is becoming quite the cruel habit of ours, isn't it? Agreeing to help Elazul find someone and then just ditching them. Regardless, this is going to begin the Little Sorcerer's event. The Pelican Amulet comes in here and he's like, there's pumpkins taking over Domina. Help! And we're like, alright. And then we leave. We don't need to take Elazul with us, so we won't. But this is going to do a scene to start the next event that we started with Elazul Cosmo, where we see this letter drop into the Mekiv Caverns. This is another letter from Sandra the Jewel Thief. So naturally we're going to go to the Mekiv Caverns, which, as we learned earlier, we have the Boinks unlocked, which we would anyway because we would have done Lost Princess by now. So we're going to do a little bit of a fast travel once we get in there. There's a Mad Mallard hanging out at the beginning, smoking a cigar. He would tell us that he just saw Pearl here if we talk to him, but we don't need to talk to him. Where am I going? I should pay attention to where I'm going. Yeah, we're not going to talk to him, though. We're going to talk to the Boink that he's right inside, though, so we have to be careful to avoid talking to him. We got to make sure we don't accidentally talk to him. There he is. We'll Boink up here, and we're going to go meet a new character. After we do this fight. The spin range is pretty far. I hit that crab from way over there. This is the Lord of Jewels. He's in here eating rocks, trying to find Jumi cores or whatever. He tells us that Pearl went this way. Alright, thanks, buddy. Now we come into a scene where Sandra is hanging out with Pearl, which is odd. And we are officially introduced to Pearl's alter ego, her split personality because of her cracked core, Lady Black Pearl, who I believe is the original Pearl, because she was a guardian to Florina before Alexander was. Regardless, Elazul has been stricken by Sandra's blade. The Lord of Jewels walks up here, being a bro. And we're gonna see Lady Black Pearl's transformation, and she's gonna help us defeat the next Jewel Beast. This would be Jewel Beast number 3. And then we'll figure out if Elzo's okay from Sandra's wound. Again, I'm not the most knowledgeable about the story together, so I probably should have played in English just to let you read a little bit more, but I didn't, because we don't do that. Alright. So you might hear me honk after I do a Counter-Strike 2, because we can cancel our Counter-Strike, which lets us react faster. Oh, no. You gotta charge off. That sucks. It's fine. We didn't die, so it's fine. Alright. That's all there is to Cosmo, other than the rest of these scenes, where we discover that Sandra's wound has... Sandra's attack on Elazul has scratched his core, which basically paralyzes the man. Laura Jules tells us to take care of him, protect Elazul at all costs. He's a precious gem, if you will. So we're gonna bring Elazul to our bed, and he's gonna relax here for a while. How long do you say? Not long. This also brings us back to our house, which is great because we need to enter our house to advance the Jumi story. Alright, so in order to advance the Jumi story for the next event, which is 2 pearls, we're going to enter our home and go up and down the stairs 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, if we went up a 7th time, we would see that Elazul's not in the bed anymore, which is perfect, because we need him out of the bed. So again, this is something that was similar that I talked about before, where this story was pretty much programmed around kind of doing Jumi while playing the game casually, because you're going home, you're talking to Lil Cactus, putting in your diary entries, you know, doing all those fun things. And naturally, the Little Cactus is upstairs in your bedroom, so you would naturally, after 6 events or so of doing that, you would wake Elazul up. You know, it would just happen over time. But since we know the trigger is just 6 times up the stairs, it's actually 5 times up the stairs if we did talk to Little Cactus, so it would be done even faster. 5 events then. But we don't want to talk to Little Cactus, we don't want to do 5 events, so we just run up and down the stairs 6 times. Puts Elazul here in the Tower of Lyris, which we're going to ascend once more the exact same way for the event called 2 Pearls. So now we know that there is a Pearl and a Lady Black Pearl, and Elazul has followed them here. Alright, just kind of take it easy while we go up the tower. Following the same rules as before, except this time we have Elazul with us, and these bats are not cooperating. Also, we didn't have this hammer. Did we have this hammer before? Yeah, we had this hammer before we went out. We did. Alright. Go straight across. We head up this door. We head in the elevator. And when we leave the elevator, which way do we go? Left. We go left. That's right, class. Always go to the left after a fast travel in the Tower of Lyris, if you're trying to get through the events. Oops. That's downstairs. I forgot. Was not thinking. Ran the wrong way. That's why you should focus during this, so you optimize your movement patterns. Basilisk and Chest Knight. Spin, spin, spin. Does it get exhausting to wiggle your thumb? Yes, it does. An hour of wiggling can be exhausting. 9.5 hours of wiggling is more exhausting. But you do what you gotta do. It's also hot in this room right now. Our house is hot. Hot. Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna spin. Hitboxes are wonky. Spins, we get them all. If I didn't knock each of those mallards back, I wouldn't be able to spin them all. Probably without getting dizzy, and 3 spins would not kill them all. So, just a tiny optimization to hit them first so that they die the same time the basilisk dies. And so I can easily hit them all at once. Ah, come on. Stalkers again. We're going to prioritize experience as much as we can because that drops first and takes longer to despawn. So if an item despawns while we're picking up experience, it's fine. Take the elevator and exit to the left. Up the stairs one more time. And we're going to be back to the Room of Fate, where we will encounter Lady Black Pearl. And while Pearl and Lady Black Pearl are battling over their consciousness, who's in charge, who's the alpha personality, Black Pearl's going to challenge us to combat. So we have to make quick work of Black Pearl to help Pearl kind of take over and control both versions of herself. Yeah, once we do this, she's more comfortable switching between Black Pearl and Pearl as needed without falling victim to the dark side, if you will. That is Black Pearl. Elzo and I are going to head out. We're going to meet at the bottom of the tower, but we do not have to run down this time. It's going to bring us there on our own. We just got to run to the left to start this fight. And we're going to be looking for counter strikes. Anytime you fight a human, or a humanoid, if you will, you can usually get away with counter striking. However, she's going to use an STME, which is rare. And I'm going to counter it with my own ST. Hit her with a blammo, which is fun. Hit her with some more counter strikes. Some more counter strikes, and her health's low, so we're just gonna knock her out. She moved, so I missed my first power attack, and I just hit a spin, so I didn't have to reline and then hit her again with an uppercut. Beautiful. Yeah, like I said, Pearl's back. She owns both personalities now. She's good. She's in control. And that ends 2 Pearls. And I bet you can guess what we're going to do next. We're going to enter our house. Because it's Jumi %, and you have to do that. We are going to just enter and exit like we have earlier to advance the Jumi story. One more time. And once again, we're going to head to Damina. And guess where we're going to find Elazul and Pearl? Yes, everybody, we're going to find them in the bar. We are doing an event that's required for Jumi, but it's not technically a Jumi event. But it's really quick. This time, Elazul is asking us to take Pearl with us. And yeah, we're going to agree. This is going to start the event Alexandrite, which we will get to in just a minute. But first, we have to do the event Little Sorcerers, which we started earlier. This is done in the town of Domina. Amulet, the pelican, the cutest mail carrier in all of the land, told us that there are pumpkins taking over the world. And these pumpkins are a result of Bud and Lisa, the sorcerers. Very menacing sorcerers. These are the only humanoids that you don't counter-strike, because they're sorcerers, spellcasters. They're not going to hit us with their. They're not going to hit us with their frying pan and their broom. Come on. I have to be really far away from these two. Alright. There we go. They don't drop any XP or anything. We make quick work of them, and we're going to agree to mentor them, which basically means they're going to live in our house now. Yay. There's children in our house. Alright, so we already begun Alexandrite, and we need to do something to advance some other things. We are going to place and enter the Frozen Heart, enter the Feek Snowfields, to release the Duma Desert from its current state, and also lock the principal Mephians into the Feek Snowfields. We need the desert released for the next event, not for this one. And again, there's a card that dropped in Geo, so that's where we're going to go next from Sandra. But we're going to do this now because we can do it on the way to Geo. And both the next events take place in Geo, and we do not need to go home after this one for the first time. So like I said, we're going to place the Frozen Heart, enter the Feek Snowfields. This is immediately going to start an event called Can't Look Back, with Principal Mephians and his students there. It's going to free up the desert, and it's going to lock him in here so we can enter the principal's office without it being on a specific day. Otherwise, we would need to be in Geo on a specific day as well. So like, there's a lot of good things that happen here. Alright, so this event is going to begin over at Christie's Palace. I'm going to run up here. Oop, did not want to enter that. Up here with Pearl. Enter the palace. Talk to Christy. She's gonna talk to the statue of Diana, which I was supposed to talk to first, not Christy. We're gonna talk to Christy to figure out why Diana's a statue. Sorry, I did that out of order. Now we talk to Christy. This is where we learn that we need to find the 3 keys to Diana's heart. These keys will cure her petrification. Yeah, we're going to find the Key of Pride, which is located at the entrance to Geo. That's the first one we're going to do. And then we're going to go to the principal's office for the Key of Fate. And then the instrument shop for the Key of Pain. Oops, I forgot I moved walk to L2. That's weird. Oh my god, I can't make it down the stairs. There's our first key. She's going to sense that there are 2 more keys. Probably. It's weird when you change key bindings or controller layout. Totally forgot I did that. Alright, there's our Key of Fate. Alright, 1 more key. We need the Key of Pain, which is sitting on a drum in the instrument shop. Instrument shop is one we have not entered, but it's right here. And now we're going to go back to the palace. And for some reason we have to talk to Christy here. Christy's going to tell us that she moved the Diana statue into the basement. For some reason, if we don't talk to her though, the Diana statue just is nowhere. It's kind of a weird thing. Like, it's just nowhere. Regardless, that is the last step for this event. We're going to get another appearance by Sandra. Luckily, no Jewel Beast fight this time, though. We get to take it easy. We get to mash. We're going to take a quick break. Rest our voice before we do the next event, which is the reason we had to free up the desert. There are only 4 events left in this run. How exciting. Diana's not petrified. Sandra's back to steal another core. Ugh, she wounds Pearl and she steals the diamond core from Diana. How does she keep getting away with all this? And then she grappling hooks out of here. We just kind of let her get away with everything. She just keeps killing all the Jumi. Mash, mash, mash. We gotta stop Sandra from killing all the Jumi. What are we gonna do? Oh no. Last times we did extra loads there and we forgot how to walk and yada yada yada. Anyways, next event is Fluorite. So for once we don't have to go back home. Yay! We can advance the Jumi story without doing that. It's kind of weird, but we take it. We're going to re-enter Geo. This is also the first time it doesn't warp us home in a while, so that probably plays a part. We're going to go into the gem shop. And this is where we will meet another Jumi, Florina. Florina was, she was basically worshipped, and she was protected by Lady Black Pearl. She was protected by Alexandra. We're also going to meet Belle, who is an interesting creature. Basically, Belle's going to warp us into Florina's dreams right now to help her. I don't know, to help put her mind at ease. There's a lot of disputes going on in her dreams that we're going to encounter in a moment. Good news about Florina's dreams. She dreams of a lot of our good friends, a lot of people that we like. Most importantly, our good buddy Niccolo. So Niccolo, in Florina's dreams, can save us a lot of time if we just give him money. So obviously, we're going to pay the man. He's going to help us travel the desert. So our dreams also take place in the desert, hence freeing the desert earlier. I'm going to give him 200 lucre 3 times before we get to our next set of scenes. Yes, sir. Tell me more. Alright, then we're going to see Pearl and Elzul discussing the power of Jumi tears, as well as their true destinies. Whether or not they are destined to live or to die, or and how powerful the tears are. Certain Jumis, like Florina, if they cry, they can heal the Jumi, which is good because Jumis can't be healed by like normal medicines and stuff, especially if their core is damaged. The Jumi tears heal. That being said, if a human cries for a Jumi, they become petrified. So Jumis are interesting. Like, you don't want to cry on a Jumi's behalf as a human. We're going to pay Niccolo 200 lucre 2 more times for a total of 5 times, or 1,000 lucre. This guy's robbing us, but saving us a lot of time. Alright. No more money from Niccolo. Elzul is insistent on protecting Pearl. Now he's talking to Black Pearl, though, and Black Pearl's not having it because she is a guardian who's destined to guard Florina, so she doesn't need her own. Elzul shows off his Sword of Fate that he has, which can be used once to kill any foe with a single strike. This was obtained in the Tower of Lyris at some point before we met him. Sweet sword. We can actually get that sword from him. We won't, but we could. Yeah, and so we learned that Black Pearl was actually one of Florina's knights back in the day, but now regular Pearl needs a knight of her own. We're done paying Niccolo, though. We're not going to pay him again. We're going to actually just kind of go on our own here. We're going to do a fight and then do a boss. So this is a Sand Scorpion. And there was a Skull Beast up there. Not anymore. That was not very optimal, but it was a fight. We'll wait for the Skull Beast stuff to go away. Alright, so Sandra is of course in Florina's dreams for some reason. And of course she brings with her a Jewel Beast. So Black Pearl and Sandra at this point are allies of sorts, but Sandra threatens to send, or Black Pearl threatens to send Sandra into the underworld. She does not see Sandra as an ally like the way that Sandra sees her. Yeah, so they run off. Pearl disappears. I get to fight one of the strongest of the Jewel Beasts, honestly. Jewel Beast 4. Bull. Alright, he's using an ST. Oh! I thought it was going to be the laser. Alright. I did not realize he was going to do an AoE. I thought he was going to shoot a laser forward, so I was just waiting for it to start before I cast Blammo. Unfortunately, I was wrong about the ST. Elza's going to show up. Pearl's none the wiser. They're good friends. They're ready to go. Their spats are nothing, which basically it helps Florina's dreams. So after this, she can hopefully have some sweet dreams and sleep soundly tonight. Yeah. This is going to lead up to the final event in the Jumi storyline, though, which is also the longest event in Legend of Mana in the entire game. So buckle up. There's a lot of scenes, a lot of fights. All right, the Teardrop Crystal. I don't know if you're gonna believe me, but we are gonna go home in order to advance the Jumi arc again. Yes, we didn't have to do it for 1 second. We didn't have to do it for Fluorite. One event we got away with not going home. But we're back. And then we have to go to Domina. And I know what you're thinking. Is Alazul in the pub again? Is he? Are we going to the pub? We're not going to the pub. We're going to go to St. Manus Church. There are 2 events you ever have to come over here for, and this is one of them. And our favorite Inspector Boyd is here, and that's not what I wanted to say to him. Let me make sure I do the right inputs, and then I'll continue. Alright, Boyd's he's still at it. He's back. He's searching for Sandra. He thinks there's something fishy about this jewel shop, and I agree. That Alex character was quite fishy. He says the door's locked. If you look at it, it doesn't look like there's a door. We're going to walk right on in. He still can't get in because there's a door, I guess. Whoop. We realize that Boyd doesn't come in, so we try to leave. Pearl and Ellis will show up. Great grand. I need to pay attention real fast because we need to talk to Pandora's box in a second, which is this box to the right. Right now. Okay. Now I'm going to mash for about 5 minutes. So we're going to talk to Pearl, Elazul, and Florina to learn more about the Jumi and their confrontation between Pearl and Alex. We're going to get a flashback to a confrontation between Pearl and Alex regarding Florina being replaced as the Clarius and the origins of Black Pearl being born from Pearl's damaged core. And it's just going to be a lot of dialogue regarding around those concepts. And after about another 4 minutes of mashing here, and we get these flashback scenes, and Elzul quits showing off his sword of fate, we will finally be granted with the Staff of Jumi, from Florina before she returns to the Bejeweled City, to her throne, the Throne of the Clarius, which is her title. Because she feels like this is what she has to do. This is her destiny. So we're going to flash back to shadows of Alex and Pearl in the Duma Desert, discussing all that good stuff. How they want to replace Florina because she's weakened, and we need someone else to do that job, and all that good stuff. But Lady Black Pearl's like, I will protect her. It's all good, bro. We'll take one more break here of talking. Try and cool off while I mash the X button until I get the Jumi staff. Also, the Jumi staff will give us, once we get this, we're going to get the option. I said I'm going to take a break and I'm going to keep talking. This will give us the option to take either Black Pearl and Pearl, both of them, or Elazul with us to the Bejeweled City, the city of the Jumi. If we take Pearl with us, she will be Pearl and she will cower and just crouch throughout all the fights, except for the boss fights where she will turn into Black Pearl. There are 4 or 5 boss fights during this final event. Black Pearl's pretty good, but Black Pearl adds more dialogue and adds the slow fights with regular Pearl, and Elazul's just faster to bring with us. If you were doing a marathon or something, this is a very common incentive bid war between taking Elazul or Pearl with you here. But for the sake of this, we're going to take Elazul with us. All it does is create different scenes and a slightly different experience. But for the sake of this run, we're going to take Elazul. We'll just stick with the fastest run. There we go. That's the Jumi staff. And now they're just going back and forth as to who should go and who should stay. Elazul's like, you should stay here. We don't both need to go. It'll be safer this way if you stay. And Pearl's like, no, I want to fight. And then he's like, you decide. And I'm like, alright, I'll decide. That's literally what this entire conversation is. So, like I said, I'm going to pick Elazul just because it's faster. Now we leave Geo and enter the final dungeon for the Jumi storyline. And I don't know if you've been counting, but this will also be our 18th artifact that we place. Even though in this run we do have a couple extra artifacts, it is what it is. It's just the way the cookie crumbles here. Oops, I almost held the wrong button and we almost watched this animation. Alright, we enter the final Jumi dungeon, which is the Bejeweled City, where the Jumis once lived in peace. In order to navigate this town, it's not really a town for the sake of other towns, we have to fight battles in all the rooms with these stones. This is Sappho's room, or the Sapphire room, in order to obtain the gemstones in them. These gemstones will later be placed into pedestals, which will unlock Sappho's gates and allow us to go up in the level, rise up throughout the levels of the Bejeweled City. This is a bit of RNG. It's random which gems you're going to need, and after you use a gem, you have to go back to the room to get another version of that gem. You cannot continue to reuse it. And that is very important because I will be going for a skip where we don't go back for 3 gems, which saves several minutes if you get it, but it's a very low chance. Anytime we approach a door, we are met with a Jeweled Beast boss fight. These are repeats of the first 3 Jeweled Beasts that we already fought. And then we will be able to put the gems in the pedestals. The first pedestals need 2 gems, the second needs 3, and the fourth needs 4. Or the third needs 4, sorry. This is a sloppy fight. very sloppy fight. Anytime you do one of these fights, it warps you to the left entrance, which is why we go in the directions that we go. But I'm going to try to use these first 2 gems here, because if these first 2 gems are the ones that I need, which I hope they are, but they're not, it would make it easier for me to just do a full lap and not have to do extra loads. However, I need one of these gems, so we're just going to proceed with the RNG madness. We'll get the emerald gem, and then we'll go get the ruby gem. The second and third floor will also have some cutscenes that are mandatory to progress before we can go through the doorway. So we will be taking the time to do that, and we will get some flashbacks and learn a little bit more about the Jumi life here in the Bejeweled City. Alright, so now I have to return to the pedestals and then return to the rooms of the gems that I used. Let's see what I mean in a second. So, it's not those ones, it's these 2. So now I need to go get the emerald again and the sapphire again. It's just how the puzzle works here. And I have Blammo up, so I'm going to just Blammo these 3. Unless Elazul pushes the Children Hood away. Elazul is the worst. Elazul likes to just push enemies away. Sometimes your allies are the biggest RNG factor in this game. Sapphire, which is the furthest room away, of course. Now on the next doors, we might have to come back down to this floor if we fail the 3 gem skip, and by might I mean we will have to come back to this floor for something. But I'm gonna go for the 3 gem skip, of course, because that's what we do. It's fun to test the RNG. And I'll explain that a little bit better. So in total, there are going to be 7 gems. So this used 2. We went back and got those 2 again. The next door is going to need 3 gems. So 7 minus 3 is 4. The final door needs 4 gems. 3 gem skip is hoping that the whatever gems are not used in the second gate are the 4 gems used in the final gate, which we've seen happen. You know, it's happened several times in different runs, and it's worth going for. I mean, especially if you're going for like a top time. All right, so this first is discussing a new knight, Alexandra, to replace Black Pearl as Florina's guardian. You see Rubens and some other dead Jumis. And then we're going to do this gate here. Fight another Jewel Beast. Pretty good. Got a couple counter strikes in there. Now again, it's going to warp us to the left entrance to this room, and we're going to take that so we can go get the amethyst. We got the aquamarine in the last room. We got to fight 2 8 mummies. As long as Elazul doesn't do that, everything's great. Elazul likes to use push. Why Elazul needs to have push equipped is beyond me. Alright, so now we have 6 gems. Let's figure out which one's going here. Perfect. The first 3. We love it. So now we're going to fight the diamond room, which is a golem. Which is a bit of a pseudo boss. He's pretty tough. He has STs. drops the most XP out of any fight in the game, pretty much. And as far as repeatable fights go, you can grind this fight if you're just trying to get 99 pretty well, honestly, if you're trying to level up casually. I would recommend using the shoes with boosted experience to do that. I meant to go out the other way, but it's fine. So this scene is we're going to see the three sisters of Esmeralda. They're going to discuss the Sword of Fate at the Tower of Lyris, and they're basically going to try and get that. And we're going to learn of Esmeralda's origins and her fascination of magic, wanting to go to Geo and learn from the best. And then we will get to our final gate and our final Jewel Beast fight of the run. The 7th Jewel Beast. Okay, I missed the counter. I hit the counter. Hit the counter. Nice Jewel Beast. And we're going to see if we got 4 gems to get. We're either going to get it, or we're going to have to go back down the floors and do some more gems. Come on. So we're hoping it's just these 4. It's not. It was only 2 of those. Alright, so we got to go back. Fortunately, I went the long way. Oh no, this is fine. I don't think this is the wrong way. We need to get the red, green, and blue. Ruby, emerald, and sapphire gems, and then come all the way back up. That's the risk you take. Oh, I'm really slipping up here. That was a horrible fight. I'll do better next time. Alright, we got the ruby, we got the emerald. We're just gonna wrap all the way around at this point to the sapphire. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. And then we're gonna go all the way back up and figure out which 2 are wrong and which 2 we need out of these 3. That also was a bad fight. Okay. Regardless, not seeking perfection. We're just trying to give a little bit of commentary on the run. We do not need that room. We have everything we need to finish the Teardrop Crystal. We have 2 more bosses to fight. Back to the diamond door. Alright, what do we got? Ruby. Emerald. Okay. Okay. Not you. Not you. Not you. Alright. Now that we've finally made it through the gate, we make it to the top. We make it to the Clarius' throne room, where Florina is accompanied by Alex. And the Lord of Jewels is here. The Lord of Jewels is basically going to do his arch enemy, or arch villain monologue, explained that he's been devouring the stones of the Jumi, their cores. He just ate Pearl's core, which was his 999th core, becoming the Lord of Jewels 999. We also realized that Alex and Sandra are one and the same. Alexandra being the other former guardian of Florina, which is why Alexandra takes such good care of Florina. This is the Lord of Jewels 999, the penultimate boss of the Jumi arc. Oh boy, I'm letting him get too many STs off. Alright, now that we defeated Lord of Jewels 999, we're going to learn that, Lord of Jewels is still alive. He just needs more power. Florina's also still alive back there. I know she looks pretty dead, but they're trying to help Florina. They have good intentions in their own eyes. Sandra's going to give the Lord of Jewels her own pearl, killing herself, just asking him to create the Teardrop crystal and restore Florina's power and her health, so that she can in turn restore a lot more civil life to the Jumi in general. So now we are met with Lord of Jewels 1000. They want to save the Jumi by killing 1,000 Jumi, I guess, but here we are. Lord of Jewels 1000. I'm gonna do uppercut plunge cancels to make sure he does 0 STs. And that is the final boss of the Jumi storyline. We were warped into this sparkling vortex for our final confrontation with the Lord of Jewels, and we took him down much easier this time because I remembered how to fight the boss. Equipping jump before these fights would be useful. But we also get our first input break for about 5 minutes. Whew. What a run. Okay. So we have defeated the Jumi, and now we have turned to stone after we cried for them. As I told you earlier, if you cry for a Jumi, you will be petrified. That's not good for the hero. That's not good. We don't want to be petrified. We want to be turned to stone. But we're surrounded now by a lot of Jumi who we've seen perish by the hands of Sandra and the Lord of Jewels. We see Diana, we see Esmeralda, we see her sisters, we see Rubens, and various others that we have kind of seen in other flashbacks and such. So yeah, they're surrounding us, once again alive. When we cried and the Lord of Jewels was defeated, a teardrop crystal was created. We can see Florina sitting up again. It's been a sad, long, sad tale with a lot of the Jumi race being destroyed. But now we've asked for the Jumi Florina to cry once again, hopefully to help save us from our petrified state. And as you know, when the Jumi cry, the sky cries with it. Obviously, you know this. We all know this. We see the little sorcerers in our attic. We have an attic. They're noticing the storm, and they think that El Azul or Pearl might be crying because they know, like we knew, that the sky cries when Jumi cries. It can't just be raining. Obviously, they jump to Jumi's crying. And this scene is really the only reason we needed to do the little sorcerers event, because this scene needs to unfold. And without that, it wouldn't let us proceed. It becomes a prerequisite to finishing Jumi. Now they're worried about us, as they should be, because we're petrified. We got stoned out there. Oh, alright. This is a fierce storm, I'll tell you what. All right, the little sorcerers who are worried about their master, us, they awaken when the storm ceases uh, to some clear skies as normal, because there's no rain in this world other than when the Jumi cry, I guess. And they step outside, where they are met with none other than Elazul and Pearl. Just outside their house, Elazul and Pearl let them know, sadly, that their master is no longer functioning. We've been petrified. We're all very sad. It's a very sad ending. But if I'm petrified, how do I finish the game? Oh, I'm back! Shortly behind them, I was kind of right in their shadows, I guess, and they didn't notice me, and we're back, and everybody's happy. I'm home! Now, I don't know if you paid attention, while we're on the world map, there is been a tree growing in the top left corner. That grows to its fullest once we have completed the main storyline and placed 18 artifacts, which we have done, in case you weren't counting. We are going to enter home. We are going to leave our home, because obviously that's how this works to progress the story. And then once we enter home again, we're going to enter into a conversation with many Sproutling characters, as well as our little cactus, discussing how they all belong to the same big tree, since one of our little cactus friends unfortunately has passed away. The others have come to mourn him. Little cactus is curious about the afterlife and insists, and the Sproutlings insist to him that, or that her, they, that we are all part of, all the plants are part of the big tree, the mana tree, and Little Cactus is very excited to hear that, knowing that, you know, there's an afterlife specifically for them. So we just enter the house following Little Cactus, we leave, and that begins the Cage of Dreams event. So we are going to head to the workshop where Nunu, Zach, and Belle are in here. They're arguing about the sick Sproutling, or dead Sproutling, the Sproutling who passed, who is stuck in the spiritual world now because of Nunuzak. Instead of where Nunuzak kidnapped the Sproutling because he believes that... Hold on, I need to make sure I hit no here. He doesn't believe that they should become part of the tree. Yeah, Nunuzak's... Pokio's a talker, so we did not want to talk to him. We're going to talk to Nunuzak now. They had a whole conversation which eventually convinced Nunuzak to send us to the dream world where that Sproutling is locked. Convincing Nunuzak otherwise that, you know what, it's fine, we should rescue them and let the Sproutling return to the tree as they're destined. So we're going to navigate this dream world version of the Mecha Caverns. And find our perished Sproutling and help him become one with the mana tree as he should be. I'm also going to try a wrong warp out of here, even though it does absolutely not save us time in this category. I'm just going to practice it because it's hard to get it to work. Hey, Lemur. Yeah, I'm going to do the warp. It does not save us time, but it doesn't lose us time. We become equidistant, if it works, from where we would be. The wrong warp would... So normally when you leave this event, or finish this event, it brings you back to home, just right outside home where you started it. But there is a way to wrong warp here and be put outside the Mecha Caverns where the dream world takes place. So I'm going to try and pull it off. We're still working on the trigger for this one. So if I'm at the Mecha Caverns, I'm not. Okay. Well, I don't know. This is the first place I got this warp to happen was during this run. So it's interesting. Alright, we're going to enter the final dungeon, the Mana Tree. Yeah, I got it during a Jumi run, I think without loading a save. I think just during a Jumi practice run. A full run, no save loads. That was the first time I ever did it. And I was very confused. But I have not gotten it in the fairy run where it would actually be slightly helpful or the all events run where it is the most helpful. Alright, Pokeel's here in the mana tree to welcome us to the Sanctuary of Mana. Why not? What else does Pokeel have to do? So now we're going to navigate the mana tree. Whew. So I'm going to focus on mana tree navigation. And I need to skip this encounter by going up left. Yep. Now it's been a while, but I'm going to remember this time. I've hit that encounter a couple times lately for some reason. Counter-strike the dragon. I'm going to use counter-strikes on regular enemies quite a bit. You're always scared of hitting it? I was always scared of hitting it for the longest time and never hit it until like my last 2 runs. For like very recently I started hitting that for some reason. Because I haven't really been practicing Legend of Mana much lately, so it's you know, kind of my fault. Oop, I'm not lined up with this guy at all. Come on, buddy. What? That Basilisk. But I wanted to do a full run of Jumi with commentary for RPG Limit Break, so here we are. It's been fun trying to commentate on this run. Alright. Come on, Chocobo. Good bird. Oh, you're good. You can ask whatever you want. Yeah, it's fine. No one's been in here, so I haven't had a reason to talk to anybody else other than myself. I'm also at the end of the run and don't have that much else to say right now, so I'm just trying to concentrate on getting through the tree, and you're keeping me talking, so we're good. Alright, so we've learned about the Mana Goddess from Pokeel. We know her visions created the universe, essentially. So yeah, we did several encounters our way up. Now we're at the Sanctuary, where we have 4 more fights to do, which unlock the final boss, which is the Mana Goddess herself, at least her evil side. Come on. I'm just gonna sit here and face this tree because I refuse to hit him unless he hits me first. I'm a pacifist like that. I only return damage. Alright, 3 more fights before the boss. Counter-strike. Counter-strike. Nice strong golden hammer counter-strikes. 2 more bosses. You're going to see our last use of the special technique Blammo against the Baby Dragon, Sky Dragon, and Land Dragon triple threat. Of course, he dropped an item when I went up there. Alright, our final match. Yeah, the Jumi damage is huge. I love using the Jumi hammer. Getting the gold hammer is sick. So we're going to fight the Tomato Man and a Tyrannos. He doesn't want to swing at me, so we're going to do it the hard way. And then this is going to warp us into our final encounter. Yeah, as far as single story is concerned, obviously in the longer categories we forge weapons that are very powerful and relentless. So we are met with a monologue from the Mana Goddess herself, explaining that she is the light, the darkness, creator, destroyer, she is love, she is not just, she's not pure, she's everything, and she's going to show us her darkness. We're going to defeat her darkness to become a hero and open the path to those who search for her. Our strategy here is going to be quite simple. We're going to counter-strike her. And as soon as her health bar is gone, that is time. So let's get this. Forget how many counter strikes it is for this category. I think it's 4. Alright, she's gonna ST. I'm gonna look for an ST. I don't know the timing on this at all. I'm just throwing it. It was pretty close. Oh, I hit it. And time. Alright, that is Legend of Mana Jumi percent. GG, thanks for watching, Lemur. I don't know how long you've been here. I'm sorry I didn't get the mech long ago. Yeah, our Sproutling friend is going to show up in just a moment, and him and all the other Sproutlings are going to heal the mana tree back to its glorious state. And we have saved the world of Fadiel. Only a minute 20 behind my PB with full commentary. Feels pretty good. That's not bad. It's not a bad run. Still sub 2 hours. Whew, I'm exhausted though. That was fun. That was fun. Thanks everyone for watching. We're gonna let these credits roll as we do. We're gonna see a lot of our familiar characters and maybe even some that we either barely got to know or didn't even get to meet, because that's how the credits work. Again, there are 2 other any % categories. There's the Dragon storyline and the Fairy storyline. There is the All storyline speedrun, where you do all 3 storylines as efficiently as possible and then beat the game. That one's about under 3.5 hours now if we use the animation skips, which we have not done yet. There's the All Events storyline, category, which is every event in the game. There are 68 events. That takes under 6 hours now with our new route and new skips. We have the Platinum %, which I have not rerouted yet, but I do have the record of that with like 9.5 hours, 9 hours and 40 minutes, something like that. I can't remember these all the time. Have not rerouted that yet. Have not done animation skips on that yet. That one is very RNG heavy. And then we have other fun things, like I created a bingo for the game, which is super fun to do and very challenging to optimize, doing random things in orders, especially when we're building worlds on the map. It can be very creative and cool. We also created a New Game Plus category where we do a single story on every difficulty of the game. There are 3 difficulties. That's an interesting run. It's about 7 hours long, or 6.5, I guess. Yeah, I like to mess around with some other side quest % where, like we did Nicolo's Business Unusual 1 and 2. There are 5 Nicolo events, so in theory we could do other spin-off runs of Nicolo % where we do all 5 of those. You kind of want to do all story with L1. Yeah, I do too. I sent Arflanier. He's a newer member of the speedrunning community who hasn't done runs himself. He's been helping us build out these new routes, and he's very knowledgeable about the land make system. Lemur, I did send him both your route and my route for all stories. He has been busy, but I asked him if that was something that he would be interested in and work on soon, and I think he will. I just don't know when he's going to get to it. I considered doing an all story run for this, just because I also wanted to do it with the L1, and I knew even doing commentary on all stories, I could PB just because of that. But I kind of also want to wait for an optimized run because it's long, and I mean, not that it's that long. It's fun, and I want to optimize it before we run it again. It is what it is. But you can run it right now and set a new world record if you want. I know if I do it, you're just going to rerun it, and I don't really want to force you to do that category right now while we're working on a new route. So we'll stick to the other routes. Yeah. So I'm going to primarily submit... Yeah, it's true, right? Like, if I do it, you'll do it, and I'm not going to do it just because I don't want to make you do it. I want to see a new route put together. First, it'll probably be in the same area where these maps are, because that helps us weaken a lot of bosses. But I imagine the dragon bosses might be a little stronger. But again, all that matters is the early game bosses. Trusan all stories right now. All right, I might come at you for the all events soon. You don't have to get Monocle to agree. He doesn't play Legend of Mana anymore. He hates us. We're too competitive. If he runs it, we'll both run it. It's fine. Yeah. I'm submitting Jumi as my primary for RPG Limit Break Lemur, mostly because I want to have a reason to grind it, because I think I can improve Jumi a lot from where I'm at. Where Fairy is a lot harder to improve for me. Like, it's difficult. Fairy's a tough one to get better at. And Dragon is RNG heavy. I will, however, do any of them that get accepted. And Fairy, yeah, and also, yeah, that's right. Lemur also ran Fairy last year at RPG Limit Break, so I'd like to run a different category. I would definitely run Dragon. I would be happy to do Dragon, and happy to grind Dragon, because I need to get a sub 120 on that anyway. So if Dragon gets accepted, I'd be great with it. I'm going to prioritize Jumi. Jumi, then Dragon, then Fairy, and maybe not even do Fairy. Maybe put all stories and all events on there or something, you know? I would love to do an all events run. Give me a reason to grind that and beat your new world record. This was fun. I had not played Legend of Mana in a couple weeks because I was learning the Wild Arms 1 speedrun, and I came back here and only a minute 20 slower than my PB on Jumi while doing commentary. It's pretty good. Feels good. Made up a ton of time on Tea Time of Danger with that one-handed axe. Whew! Whew! That was a sick split. That was so fast. Three golds. Not bad run. I can just listen to this music. It's such a good soundtrack we can jam to all day. I am very happy that this is a game with a good soundtrack, so I don't feel like I have to listen to other music or anything while I play it. Like, it's nice. It's relaxing. I think I should really take spin off for jump when I hit Lord of Jewels. I don't really need spin anymore for the rest of the run. I don't think. And jump cancel is probably better on the Lord of Jewels fights specifically. I mean, I could always switch back to spin after that, but specifically Lord of Jewels could use jump. Yeah, I think I always go counter on trees, so I feel like I should go counter jump. Yeah, spin is nice for staggering on Lord of Jewels, but the first Lord of Jewels got STs on me because I forgot to do 999. Because I forgot to do, like, I normally just do an uppercut cancel on those ones because, like, I don't need jump that often in this category, so I don't really worry about it, and I do an uppercut plunge cancel. Which I remember to do on Lord of Jewels 1000, but I forgot about it on 999. I wasn't thinking, and he ST'd me twice. The uppercut plunge cancel it's good enough, but since I don't really need spin, I can just switch to jump, and it wouldn't be a big deal. But spin is a good stagger, and I can still do the uppercut cancel, so I can have the best of both worlds. It's just uppercut's a little bit slower than jump, which is not the end of the world. Yeah. I just need to remember to use it on Lord of Jewels 999 so I don't get those STs. I think forward plunges faster too, but I need to practice forward plunges. I'm inconsistent with my forward plunge cancel. Just because it's like the double forward and it doesn't always do what I want. So sometimes I just get stuck. I get locked out from the power attack animation lock. But that's on me. I just need to practice the forward plunge cancel. I can get better at it. Finn. All right, that's the end of the credits. That's the end of the run. Thank you for watching. Legend of Mana Remastered Jumi percent with commentary. I'm going to upload this to my YouTube. And thanks for being here live, Lemur, and Monocled earlier. I saw you with the good luck. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, as always. It's been a good time. GG. Thank you. Have a good night. Appreciate it, buddy. I'm going to end the stream. Bye.